Right, let's roll. Do a daytime Facebook Live on, because I don't want to do the nighttime ones. They interfere a little bit with my lifestyle at the moment. And plus, I like the way the videos look now with the daytime. Well, nighttime and day, but I do want to focus on daytime ones where possible. So, let's roll. With that being said, let's roll. Let's talk about, now I'm not an expert on health by any means, but what you'll find with me is, I'm an experimenter, like fucking crazy, and I read books like fucking crazy, and I do two things. I do those two things. So I might not know a lot, but I connect the dots between what I read, what I hear and learn from people on Facebook, and also from my real life experiences. And it's kind of cool that I decided to write a book on sunlight. As you guys may not be aware that I am writing a book on it, but I don't do it for other people as much as, ironically, I'm writing this sunlight book for me, for my learning, selfishly. Because I'll tell you now, not many people know half as much as what I know on sun, and it's because of the book research. It's also because I need to. I'm the personality where I need to understand. I need to understand the scientific basis where something works in order to do it. So with urine therapy, I needed to read the book Martha Christie's Your Own Perfect Medicine. With sunlight and vitamin D, which I'm going to talk to you in a bit now, I need to do the research, because I've already done a lot of research on sunlight. I started coming to sun gazing last year, and I came to the research and found it really powerful without knowing the mechanisms of why sun gazing worked. Then I started experimenting with nudism last year, and I didn't know why it worked. But now, with all the research I'm doing for the book I'm writing, I'm finally understanding, I'm learning shit that's going to survive me the rest of my lifetime, and hopefully be part of my legacy of knowledge that I can pass on to other people. You know, in many ways, I'm a little pioneer in terms of how many things I know about sunlight, and I'm growing to know about sunlight, because I'm connecting the dots with a lot of things. And vitamin D is a really good focus area for us. Vitamin D is huge, you know. In the world of sun, there's a lot of things going on. And you've known for the past months, if you guys don't know, I've been talking a lot about red light therapy. Sunrise, sunset, intensified red light therapy, holy shit. But it's all mechanisms of sun. And the two most powerful to me, although I don't really want to say this, is sunrise, sunset, and sun gazing at sunrise, sunset, and then adding an extra if you can't sunrise at sunrise, sunset because of the sun clouds, just to be nude or exposed as much flesh as possible. Intensified red light therapy, under cloud cover, sunrise, sunset, 2 hours before, before sunrise and after sunset, and also 2 hours after sunrise and 2 hours before sunset. Very powerful. But the next one, which now I understand, you guys may know more about it than me, is vitamin D. Oh my god, vitamin D is so powerful. Reading Microholics, I'm rereading. I read this once a few years ago. Now I'm rereading it again, and I read it last week, and now I'm rereading it again because there's too much information in the book. Too much information for me to. There's too much, and I need to reread it slowly. And after I read it the second time, I'm going to read it 3 and 4 times. I mean, I'm not joking. There's so much here I've got to relay information-wise. But let me simplify the little that I know on vitamin D at the moment. Number 1, vitamin D is so important that every cell in your body has a receptor for vitamin D. Let me repeat, every single fucking cell in your body has a receptor for vitamin D. It's a hormone. Hormones are more powerful than vitamins and minerals because hormones affect the metabolic pathways of the body. They're more powerful than vitamins and minerals, so it's a hormone. Very powerful. Melatonin, another fucking amazing hormone for nighttime. This is talking about vitamin D. Every cell has a receptor for vitamin T. So if anyone tells you vitamin T is not important, then wonder, what the fuck? Tell them, why does every single cell have a receptor for vitamin D? I look at red light therapy. The main mechanism why sunrise, sunset, or red light machines work is because what they do is they activate the mitochondria of your cell, which is the powerhouse. Every single cell of your body, which you have trillions, has 3 to 10,000 mitochondria. Mitochondria are the ones that run the ATP, the energy system. So when we do sunrise, sunset, or red light machines, same thing, although I'd rather do sunrise, sunset, you're activating the energy systems of your body, lighting up every single cell, the mitochondria. Well, you've got to look at midday sun, which is what vitamin D produces, by the way, especially if you don't live in the tropics. Even if you live in the tropics, if you live in northern climates, the vitamin D is only going to come from UVB. And I'm in England right now, south of England. It's April time and only started this month being able to produce vitamin D according to the research and books, and according to my experience, because I can feel the difference. I can feel the difference. I know I'm producing vitamin D now. My musculature, my yoga is getting stronger. My brain is getting smarter. I'm more happier. I'm starting to imitate other people better. All my little personality quirks that I love about myself are starting to enhance. And I'm just doing the same shit. So it's not the red lights, even though they do enhance. It's definitely the vitamin D. But anyway, sidetracked a little bit. Every single cell in your body has vitamin D. And in England now we can start producing it. It only produces from a midday suns. This is why I said this information before, that the three most important times to be out in the sun. Like, I know if you've got a 9-to-5 job, you're in trouble, but these are the ones you've got to prioritise. At least once a day, sunrise, sunset, within 2 hours, before or after, preferably after sunrise and before sunset. At the sunrise, sunset, that's number 1 or 2. Do both if you've got time, do both. If you haven't time, just do one of them. And then the second most important, now I know, is you've got to start learning about vitamin D, which I will help with that in my book, and also I will post loads of shit of what I'm learning for free, and my YouTube's what I'm doing now. You've got to start focusing on the midday sun, because unfortunately it's only the midday sun, even in the tropics, and especially if you're like me, you live in fucking Europe, North America, by the way, New York are in trouble, higher than Atlanta, Georgia. If you live at that latitude, you're fucked. You've got to really concentrate on vitamin D, like I'm doing at the moment. You've really got to focus on that midday sun and get as much as possible. And that does involve, by the way, being kind of naked or wearing tan-free shorts, because our sun isn't strong enough. I'm not even in UVB, but it's not strong enough. So you've got to think of little hacks, and one hack is nudism. So it's just not enough, unfortunately, in my opinion, to optimize vitamin D production without supplements, which, by the way, I approve of from what I'm reading in another book as well, Jeff Bowles' book, which I highly recommend. I'll talk more about that, and vitamin D from Michael Solution. I recommend supplements too, although that's not my bias. I'm not going to spend money on it. It's fine. I don't judge people for doing it. I know it fucking works. You can also go too toxic with supplements, which I know you can't from sun, because the sun destroys any excess vitamin D in the body. Also, with red light therapy from a machine, you can get toxic doses. You can do it too much, whereas you can't get too much red sun from doing sunrise every sunset and sunrise, right? Nature knows best. So nothing wrong with supplements, just not my jam. And anyway, so this is going to be a long one, I think. If you guys stay with me, I'll tell you. I'm trying to remember here for the second time reading. So every cell in your body has a vitamin D receptor. So we can establish that it's very fucking important. Just as red lights light up the mitochondria, which has 310,000 every single cell, and it's important for your energy system, which is why it's so fucking important. Let alone the sun gazing. I'm just talking being out under sunset, very powerful. Well, now we know why midday sun, UVB, lights up the vitamin D, and the vitamin D fucking makes your hormones act in 2 ways. Hormones can go straight to the nucleus of the cell, or they can attach to a receptor in the outside of the cell, and that receptor, what it does is it activates the gene. It's like a switch, and that receptor on when a vitamin D goes into a vitamin D receptor, which every single cell has, genes, turns off on and off those gene codes, and it activates genes that are incredible things. So vitamin D itself doesn't. It's just an activator. It's just an activator that once it hits the cells of the body. Now it hits the cells of the body of the brain, the cells of the body of the lungs, the cells of the body of the pancreas, the cells of the body of the colon, the cells and body of the prostate. They all have vitamin D receptors in all parts of the body. Yeah. So when we hit that, it turns on genes that promote health. That is in a nutshell why vitamin D is amazing. It's also why vitamin D prevents. And vitamin D is absolutely necessary to prevent cancer, and is probably, at my bias at the moment, one of the most powerful anti-cancer things got going. I mean, you don't have to type in vitamin D cancer, and you will see thousands and thousands and fucking thousands of studies to show that vitamin D prevents cancer. How does it do that? Because once it gets into the bloodstream, and the only way vitamin D, the best way, not the only way because you can get it from diet, I'm lying a little bit, the best way to get vitamin D from your bloodstream is through the skin. So the pre-cholesterol steroid hormone, this receptor, just make it like this. If vitamin UVB hits the skin, and then, which is something else I could want to say, but I'm not sure I should put it in this video. It's going to make it way too long. It's kind of interesting though. This UVB hits the skin, and then there's what's the word for it? Anyway, there's precursors to vitamin D in the skin. As the UVB hits the skin, the more skin the better. The more those precursors, pre-vitamin Ds, get pushed from, get activated. No, not get activated. Wrong. See, I'm learning here too. They get pushed from the skin cells into the bloodstream. Right? We want high levels of vitamin D in the bloodstream. That's how you can go to your doctor and your doctor will tell you how much vitamin D is in your bloodstream, because vitamin D in your bloodstream is a really good indicator of how much vitamin D you got in your body. But it gets more complicated than what I said, but it is a massive good. Doctors are right. This is a foolproof way, and that's how we know the science of how it prevents cancer. People with high levels of vitamin D in their bloodstream, you get great health, no cancer, body optimization. People that have low don't. So anyway, it gets pushed into the bloodstream. Some of it, because when the vitamin UVB hits the vitamin D precursors in the skin, it has to take a journey from the skin into the bloodstream, and it goes past the underlying levels of skin called the subcutaneous fat. You know, those fat, like my fat belly. I haven't got much fat, but I've got some fat. Right? Obviously, obese people have more of this subcutaneous fat beneath the surface dermis levels of the skin. Maybe it's the epidermis, I don't know exactly, but the subcutaneous fat. So it takes a journey. Now, on its journey, the vitamin D from the skin to the bloodstream, like I said, some of it gets caught, has to go through the subcutaneous fat, and it gets caught. This is not caught in a bad way. Nature, what it does is, on the way to the subcutaneous fat underneath the skin, it gets put in there, the vitamin D. Instead of all of it, hear me now, instead of all of it going down to the bloodstream, some of it gets, on purpose by nature, nature's designed it to store vitamin D in your subcutaneous fat cells. Now, nature does this for a reason. Nature does it for a rainy day. It's like money in a bank and compound interest. Because nature knows that summer and sun is not going to last for fucking ever. So, it will store some of that vitamin D, instead of it all going to the bloodstream, into your fat cells for a time like winter, when there's less sun. Get this, the vitamin D will only come out at winter time when it's stored in the fat cells, right? When you produce vitamin D in the summer, you've done your job, you've done good work, you've got good vitamin D levels, and it's not in your bloodstream, it's stored in the fat cells, and that's good, so we can call it a winter, but it will only be called out in winter if we have to release it from the bloodstream. Now, I say if because there's certain kind of people, and I don't mean to be harsh here, I don't mean to be judgmental, I'm going to be completely factual with you guys, and you guys won't be offended, but maybe mainstream people will. If you do have vitamin D in your fat cells in the summertime, because you've got lots of sun, or even some sun, or whatever quantities you've got, there's some in your fat cells, it was released from the fat cells into the bloodstream where they're needed. From the bloodstream, by the way, they go in, I'll talk about it a bit, it's going to be an epic long one if you want, on where it goes after it hits the bloodstream. It goes everywhere, basically. In the winter, it won't just automatically go from the fat cells into the bloodstream where it's needed after that. It will only go if you somehow stop eating as much in the winter as you do in summer. Do you hear what I said? It will only, the vitamin D that you've stored in your fat cells for a rainy day in the summer will only get into the bloodstream and the body where it's needed in the wintertime if you slow down your eating and those fat cells shrink. By the way, that's how you break it. Eating less, fasting, exercise. Now, this is nature's way of being awesome, because this is what we were designed to do. Again, I might upset even some of you guys. This is my opinion, just how I'm thinking about ancestors and how it all makes sense. In winter, there was less food available for our ancestors. Now that is not true. Now we are pigs, we can go to the supermarket, we can eat bullshit food. I'm also guilty of this, I'm not perfect, I'm just telling you how I see it. So we are gone against our nature. But in the winter, we were designed that there was just less food. There was less fruits, there was less foods on the ground, maybe there was less carcasses for animals and shit to eat. There was all kinds of less shit. So what happened was, in the winter, now there was less sun, first of all, so much less vitamin D activation, if any, because even if there was sun in the winter, it wouldn't have been UVB sun, hardly any, especially if you're not living in the tropics. But even in the tropics, man, like in the, I don't know. Think of that. There's no, but now that you're your ancestor, right, and you're eating less food, your fat cells, guess what happens when you eat less food and fast, consciously or not nowadays? Your fat cells dissipate, and they eventually just shrink back into the bloodstream. So that's exactly what nature designed us with the vitamin D. The stores of vitamin D that we preserved in the summer go to the bloodstream, right? That's the body's fucking genius. In the wintertime, when we have less food available to us, not out of choice for our ancestors, now we can fast, but now we can also eat and fuck ourselves up. But if we don't, if you're a fat person, hear this, if you are an obese person that has vitamin D, or even you think you've got adequate vitamin D from the summertime, and in the winter you carry on your eating habits and you don't lose any weight, or even worse, put on weight, but even if you don't lose any weight, those cells will not break down, and therefore you now have chronic deficiency as an obese person. Okay, this is harsh and this is true. This is one huge, there are so many reasons why being fat and obese is unhealthy, but this is huge. Your vitamin D levels are fucked if you are fat. Full stop and fucking period. It gets stuck. You have high vitamin D maybe as a fat person, but it's useless being stuck in the fat, in the subcutaneous fat. It's absolutely useless. They were designed by nature to be there so that we ate lots in the summer when there was abundance of food, and in the winter when there was none, we would fast, and when we fast, our fat cells would shrink to keep us alive, to give us energy, and that's what happens when you fast, right? And you've got no food, you lose weight. And as soon as the subcutaneous fats were dissipated in bloodstream, guess what? The vitamin D was activated, and the vitamin D activation magnified our health and kept us alive in the winter, as well as go into vitamin D as well, now flooding the bloodstream in winter to keep us alive and happy and well, prevent cancer and all these kind of diseases. So that's a fair point. That was important to get out there, the beast thing. You are fucking yourself in the foot if you know anyone that's fat, or if they're not losing weight. And just for the vitamin D alone, now I know this is the truth. I was reading in this book as well, and it makes sense to me. If you are also obese, you have to take 3 or 4 times the amount of vitamin D supplementation just to get the same amount of vitamin D. That includes sun now. That includes sun. You're going to have to take way more sun, because it's all getting stopped. Most of it, or a lot of it, compared to a thin person, is getting blocked in the fat, the subcutaneous fat. And not being blocked, it's okay to be there, but it's not getting into the bloodstream. It's not ever going to get in the bloodstream because you're not fucking losing weight. So that's a point on that one. Now, back to vitamin D. I will make this one epic. So, vitamin D, for us, it goes from the blood, from the skin into past the subcutaneous fat. Even for thin people, some of it gets stored in the fat cells winter time to release in the bloodstream, but most of it, we'll say, goes into the bloodstream. From the bloodstream, it's not activated as we know it, it's D3, right? Once it hits the skin, it performs its little precursor shit, it becomes D3, vitamin D3, but it's not activated D3. It first goes to the bloodstream. The liver converts it all into another form, which again is not activated D3, by the way. It's not. Into the liver, and then from the liver, It used to be thought, up to apparently the mid-90s, that the only place where vitamin D was activated was the kidneys. And the process was this: skin to liver, liver to kidneys, and kidneys activate, and then it's used for calcium metabolism and bone formation. And that's all it was for. It didn't think recently it had so many other factors. Now we know by science that it goes from skin to liver, and then into from skin to bloodstream to liver. Some of it does go to the kidneys, and the ones that go to the kidneys are activated, very small amounts by the way, and those ones activated by the kidneys of vitamin D3 are used only used only for calcium metabolism and bone formation, which by the way is fucking huge. This is why vitamin D makes calcium supplements, or nowadays sensible calcium supplements you'll find with vitamin D. There's no point taking calcium supplements without vitamin D, or sun, because it's the same thing. Calcium and vitamin D go hand in hand. It's completely pointless, the focus of the Society of Calcium, without vitamin D. It is useless. It can't be metastasized, it can't be used. Calcium in the bones can't be absorbed. Apparently 15-30% of calcium only will be absorbed if you lack this problem. You've got a serious bone issue problem, regardless of how much calcium you take or supplement or whatever from food, diet, whatever shit. If you haven't got high vitamin D from sun or supplements, completely fucking useless. So bone formation. Now, okay, bone formation is one, absolutely essential, preventing osteoporosis, preventing fractures when you're older, having strong bones. Now, what's connected to the bones? Well, the muscles, the muscular system. That's why they call it skeletal-muscular system, right? They're one and the same, two things. So when we do have strong bones, because there's a link between muscles and bones, they're kind of the same, right? This is also why people that have weak muscles have bone problems. This is why fat people also have musculature problems, because their bones are weak, because of lack of vitamin D. And so you're fucked, basically. If you have low vitamin D, rest assured you are in a crisis of your bone health and your musculature health. I can't think of anything more important for the human avatar than muscles and bones. That's what makes me at the core of my body. You know, this primarily bones and muscle. So without vitamin D, you're fucked. And yes, that vitamin D from that is made by the kidneys, but it's essentially from we need that vitamin D from the sun or diet, but mainly sun to get that. Now, that's what science thought was the only vitamin D activated vitamin D was from the kidneys. And as I said, every single cell of the body, recent science says, fairly recent, 20 years ago, every single cell of the body creates or has a receptor for vitamin D. This is of importance. So what happens to the other ones? From the skin, it goes to the liver, and then the liver doesn't activate it, it just changes it into another model that gets closer to activation. Then from the liver, from bloodstream to liver, some of it goes to the kidneys, and then the rest of it goes back to the bloodstream, and I've got this little molecule which is not activated vitamin D3, but it's the one below activated D3, and that can go now from the bloodstream into the brain, into the colon, into the lungs, into the prostate, into the breasts, all these areas. And that one step below activated vitamin D3, when it goes into the cell of every single body, every single part of your body, then every single cell in your brain, your lungs, your liver, your pancreas, and as soon as it gets in the cell, each cell of your body converts the D3 into its activated form. So now we know it's not just the kidneys that activate D3, activate vitamin D, it's also every single cell of your body. Every single cell of your body activates it. And when it gets activated, and it can only get activated if you've got enough of it in your bloodstream, right? If there's enough to go around your bloodstream, the cells can use it. And when they use it, it gets activated, and it hits the receptor, and it optimizes the function of each cell of your body. That's what there. It turns on. It turns on something like, the book said, it turns on like something like 2,000 genes, vitamin D, and there's like, that's 6% of your human genome. 6% of the entire genetics of your body. You can flip the switch with vitamin D. It's really important. And what it does is, that we know about, is that it prevents cancer as one of them. I think way more than that. It prevents all diseases. It's fucking obvious to me. But cancer being the primary, all to go down, whether that be cancer of the lungs, or the prostate, or the brain, of the bowels, whatever it is, all cancers, lungs, whatever, it all goes down because the cells are allowed to function optimally because there's the upregulation effectively of genes that prevent cancer and the upregulation of genes of each cell that optimize that cellular function. Each organ is comprised of trillions of cells, and that's what runs them, right? So the cells, when the cells get optimized, just like therapy, when the mitochondria get optimized, guess what? You're fucking healthy. With red light therapy. Now with vitamin D, when you hit the receptor, which every cell's got, you fucking optimize the fuck out of every cell of your body, and therefore everything works swimmingly. It's not just your muscles that are fucking on fire, it's not just your bones that are fucking healthy, now it's your pancreas is producing more insulin, now your lungs are breathing, you're breathing deeper. It lowers your blood pressure, it capacity of your blood vessel walls, reduces risk of heart attacks, strokes. This is basically how I want people to look at it in a really simple way. It affects, because every single cell has a vitamin D receptor, and it's that important, when you have enough swimming around in your bloodstream because you've got lots of sun, or you're doing supplements, either one, although I prefer sun. Oh, by the way, sun lasts longer in your body too, apparently 1 to 2 weeks after. I already talked about how it stays in your subcutaneous fat for when you kind of lose weight a little bit and it gets into the bloodstream at winter time. But I mean, like, even if you took 1 dose of sun, like I did today, it lasts in the bloodstream for like 1 to 2 weeks, whereas a diet, if you had it from diet or supplements, it would last apparently half that time or a quarter of that time, which makes sense to me, right? Diet is not the way for it. Supplements to try and do, so that makes sense too. So yeah, we've got my focus, and I'm finding great results, if I'm being honest, from vitamin, just being smart, because I'm in the UK in a wrong latitude, and I've only just started being able, this month apparently I've started to being able to make vitamin D, but now I'm prioritizing, and here's the money one for me, work out, well, not even work out, go on Google and find out when is the highest midday sun, what time, it's 1 PM here at the moment, 1:10, and then get out if you can and have the time, like smack on that, and half an hour before and half an hour after. Now, I've also been doing a little experiments, and I'm going to do a lot more on cloud cover, because I know it's a big issue for you guys and for other people. Chemtrails, oh, the chemtrails, and oh, what about the chemtrails? Oh, doesn't the UVB block out the clouds, block out it blocks out, yeah, the UVB does block out the sun, but I'm getting to prove to myself, that's all I really care about really, I'm going to prove to myself that I can make lots of vitamin D by being smart, being outside at the right times, at peak, when the sun is highest at the sky, but also even under cloud cover. And I'm really starting to notice shifts in my vessel, that I know that I'm producing vitamin D, and I know most of it is happening under cloud cover. Now, I'm not going to lie, I know that under cloud cover, there's going to be less UVB protection, but you've just got to be smart. Warriors, is you've got to be smart with how you approach this. If there are clouds in the sky during your peak hours of UVB and vitamin D production, you just got to, I don't know, commit to spending longer in the sun, right? You can, instead of maybe even only needing 10-15 minutes, like peak time, and if there's no clouds, say, and you're out at 1 PM, smack on the dot, whenever it's highest in the sky, you go out at that time, and it's cloudless, and you just got pure sun, you go naked, you've got your tan-through shorts, whatever, just privates covered up. You don't need that much. You can do 10-15 minutes and have a high dosage of UVB, vitamin D, fine. But if you're under cloud cover, you're just going to have to be smarter, and maybe do a little longer, maybe do an hour or 2 hours at peak time. Just like a positive difference. I want to see how much I'm trying to work out how much cloud cover affects. I think it's quite a lot, but I know now that UVB penetrates through cloud cover. And by the way, I read in this book, and this resonates with me, apparently people still get tanned, even though they have, they're under clouds. People still get tanned at midday sun under cloud cover. How is that possible? That can only be possible because the UVB is penetrating, powerful. And I actually like the clouds. I like chemtrails in a way because it makes me work harder on my discipline. This is a mindset thing I've chosen to take on. Many people don't. Many people aren't warriors. Many people in the truth community are like, oh, chemtrails, I'm going to have to be negative, worry about my health, and I care so much about people, but I can't do anything about my health. Well, do you know what? When I see chemtrails and I see clouds, I just have to work harder, and I like it. I like being worked harder because I'm disciplined, but I'm also quite lazy and learn more. I learn more from being poisoned. I learn more from 4G, 5G to come. 5G is going to teach me a fuckload of lessons. Oh, 5G is going to teach me a fuckload of lessons and force me to really smash my health and take it even more seriously. Knowing as well that other people, as much as I don't want them to die, will get sick and die, so it won't be me first. I mean, that sounds narcissistic, but I mean, we all will get affected by it, don't get me wrong, but we won't. Right, I've gone all over the place with that. It's just really important. You guys have got to read this book, Vitamin D Solution. I've also decided to, I'm rereading it for a reason. I've got to put that information in the book, what I've said here, but also more knowledge on specifics on the vitamin D that are going to go in the book, which I didn't think would have, because I was so obsessed with red light therapy. I thought that was it. And sometimes I thought vitamin D for the longest time was the wrong focus. I was a bit naive. And actually it's not. Vitamin D is not the wrong focus, it's the correct focus. It's very powerful stuff. Really is. Yep, float. Yeah, it feels amazing, doesn't it? And even when the sun comes out and it's under cloud cover, it feels good. And then when the sun breaks, there's something going on there psychologically. Not just physically, the luck's changing when the sun comes out. I think there's something physically going on and psychologically going on that makes us even more happier when the sun breaks the clouds and it hits our skin and temple. So I think it's psychological difference, and also I think there's something to do with our health getting activated. That doesn't mean it's an excuse under cloud cover, but I do fucking love sun, and I'm probably going to move, probably on when I can't produce vitamin D in the UK, I'm going to go on holiday somewhere where I can. I'm going to have to make enough money and figure out how to change my lifestyle a little bit. The sun's forcing me to change my lifestyle in this country, because it's not enough sun, but I mean in the meantime, I'm going to get out. I'm going to go on holiday at winter time somewhere where I can produce vitamin D, or even buy a spurty lamp. I'm going to experiment with that. There's stuff we can do. Oh, tanning beds. Tanning beds are huge. I think they're legit, by the way. I think UVB tanning beds, UVB tanning beds are legit, and I highly encourage in North America, above Atlanta, Georgia. So that's most of you guys, apart from Florida and Texas and that stuff, that southern states, and also all of Europe and UK especially, and other places. Tanning, that's something I'm going to experiment with too. There's a spurty lamp. I don't know how much that costs yet. I'm going to have to research that at some point. That people buy that apparently produces vitamin D too. So there are solutions and hacks. Also red light therapy machines, as you know, with sunrise sunset. There are things that we can buy. Experimenting with, and God, there's so many great technologies out there. I mean, it can't replace nature, but it's useful, isn't it? These machines and technologies, you know, Kang and more. People want to diss this stuff, but it does. Yeah. Oh, Rosalind. Cholesterol is really fucking important. That's the base for which testosterone, progesterone, cortisol. You already know this. Vitamin D. They all start from cholesterol. And also, even if it's true about the cholesterol that you don't want it too high in the blood, well, what's a great way of not making it too high in the blood? I don't know, using up that cholesterol to make it into vitamin D. For men. For progesterone for women. For cortisol for men. For us. You know, so that's how to get rid of your cholesterol. If it's true, because I don't know whether that's true or not, the cholesterol debate, but if you want to lower it, a great way to lower your cholesterol, proven by science, by the way, I'm not making shit up, is just to raise your vitamin D levels and take that cholesterol out of the system, because I think it's there. Do you know what, as well, going back to what I'm saying, maybe the reason why cholesterol is there at such high amounts is because people aren't converting it into sunshine, so therefore it's staying as cholesterol in the bloodstream, when it should be converted into vitamin D. That's probably true. That's why statins are unnecessary. Holy shit. Just follow that one now. Okay, well that's it. Alright. Yeah, AJ, I heard that too, bro. Now I'm reading in this book. I don't resonate. Now I don't know, I'm not an expert, so I might be wrong. I might be challenged and to be wrong. But I don't believe that showering after sun exposure, because this book says also, but it makes sense. Think about it. We go into the ocean. What are you saying? We make vitamin D, then we go swim in the ocean, in the beach. We go swim in the ocean, and then it washes off the vitamin D. This book says that Oh, actually, this book says that all vitamin D is made in the living cells. We know this, actually. We know that it is made, is activated, not just in the kidneys. Vitamin D is activated it goes in from the skin into the bloodstream, into the liver, and then some to the kidneys and some to the cells of the body. It's activated by the cells. It's a living thing in these skin cells. I don't believe that nature's designed it so that we go and swim in the ocean and then all of a sudden the vitamin D gets washed off. Now, I might be wrong, and I know people that I respect have posted the opposite, and I don't know. There's things I don't know yet. Salt, whether it's good or bad, I'm cool not knowing a lot of things. If you want to be safe, you can try it. I'll get to that experiment for sure. It'll be interesting to work out whether it does. Yeah. Right, that's it. Got all over the place. Vitamin D. Solution. The solution is sun. I'm really excited about this book and getting it out there, and vitamin D, it's doing a lot for my health and amping me up, and I'm getting a lot more out of my avatar. I feel so much more. It's doing so many things to each part. Think of it this: each organ, everything of your body is getting amplified with vitamin D. It's that powerful and that important when we maximize it. Also, another great thing to do is maybe even go to a doctor and check out your vitamin D levels, because that stuff is legit. The levels of vitamin D, I can't remember what it's called, but there's a specific type that Dr. White talks about that you need that is correct. I think the doctors will know. Some get it wrong, so make sure you do the homework before you go to get your vitamin D levels checked. They're checking for the right level of vitamin D in your bloodstream, and that will show. That's an indicator that I know for a fact how healthy you are in terms of your vitamin D levels. This is where science can be useful to us and mainstream. We don't want to diss doctors too much because their information is correct on vitamin D, and this book I'm reading this guy's mainstream as fuck in a way. He does not believe in sun gazing and all this kind of shit. So we learn from everybody. And yeah, I'm going to check my vitamin D levels. That's a key, actually. That's a good way to test. And then doing experiments before and after. That makes sense. Soap, yes. Well, soap would, I think, because it disturbs the structure of the acidity of the skin. The skin is acid to keep. The skin is acid because it needs that acid, to kill off. It's like a germicide. The skin really. So sweat, it kind of kills off bacteria. So if you're messing with the alkalinity and putting artificial crap on your skin, then yeah, it fucking would. But apart from water, I can't see that happening. You don't want to put plain water on your skin anyway, tap water, because that's fucking going to go into your bloodstream. But yeah, soap is. Natural ingredients, then I wouldn't recommend that either too. Alright, cool. Thanks for watching, guys. Let's get some vitamin D. Prime time UK, vitamin D is 11 till 3. You can work it out. Go on Google and find out where your location is and what times you can make and what seasons you can make it. If you're New York, I think it's April to September. London, April to September. Canada, May till. There's only a couple of months, so we've got to prioritize these times. Make the most of the winter, and then winters consider going on holiday to places where there is lots of vitamin D. Also, we can do tricks, like I said, of tanning beds. Now I'm all for them. I'm going to try that out as an experiment. Don't think it's going to be a permanent lifestyle, I don't know, but I'm trying that out. Definitely the Spurty lamp. I've heard amazing things about the Spurty lamp that apparently produces, delivers UVB. It's the one that everyone talks about, is recommended. The only one that people recommend really for producing. Quite expensive, but these are hacks that we can do in our Western privileged culture. Now, prime time sun, as well as do what we can, and that's all we can do, right? And get that nice tan going. All right, peace. Take it easy.